Welcome guys to another Ask Zenler. Alright, welcome to this workshop. So in this workshop what I want to cover is certificates and editing them. Now certificates are actually created using a format called SVG. Okay, so we need to find an editor that's going to work. Now I myself use Illustrator, which I can edit SVG files. However guys, you don't have to buy expensive software to actually edit your SVG files. So first thing is we're going to look at where they are, and we're going to also look at where you turn them on in a course as well. So I'm just going to come to my courses down here, and I'm just going to go into Surfing for Beginners, and we'll have a look at how you can turn these parts on. So if you go down to course details underneath your course, you can actually enable certificate for this course. So you can check this and you can actually select the certificate that you want to use for that particular course. So these are default certificates that have been generated by Zenler, and they're actually in your system, but you can actually edit and upload your own, which a lot of you instructors want to do. So how can we get these certificates across and edit them? Well, we're going to go now and actually download a sample copy of one of the certificates, then we're going to edit it, and then we're going to upload it back, and we're going to select it for this course. So where are our certificates actually, where can we get them from? Let's just go into the site panel here. Let's go into the courses panel here, and we're going to go down to where we've got certificates. So these are our sample certificates. Okay, so we want to edit a certificate in here. Now we've also got these previews of the certificates that we've already got in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and actually play around with some of these. So I'm going to take one of these certificates, this gold one. We can view it in here, as you can see. So you can see what they look like. Now the thing about SVGs is it will actually take these tags. These are merge tags. So it will actually put in here the name of the school. Under here it will put the student's name, and it will also put other details in, such as the course and on the completion date of the course. Now this information is pulled in to the SVG, okay, and that information is held on the Zenler system. So when we do edit a certificate, we need to maintain those merge things. Now if you don't want them on there, you don't want the school name, you don't want the course on the course that's taken, or the on completion date, you can delete them out. If you just wanted a student's name to be on the certificate, you could of course put that in there. So it's entirely up to you, but that information is pulled in by the certificate when you've got those tags, when those braces around it. Okay, so we need to first of all download a copy or a sample one so that we can modify it. So let's go and say add certificate design here, and this is where you would normally add your design, but because we want to use the sample certificate as a base, we're actually going to download a sample SVG here. So let's click this, and you can notice that there is actually a download button here. Let's click download, and this will download the SVG to our system. So then we can use an editor, and in this case I'm going to show you a free editor that you can use to edit SVG files. So that is now downloaded, so I'm actually going to open that up and save it to my desktop. So let's go to here, let's go to show in folder, and I've got it here. So I'm just going to drop that onto my desktop for ease of use, and we'll move on to the editing software for SVG files. Now there's quite a lot of free SVG editors out there, and that's what you're looking for. So although I'm going to be showing you one of them, you might want to play around with a few others to see which one's better. You might also want to ask people on the group what they're using so that you can edit using their software. They might find one better. I generally, well, I always use Adobe Illustrator to do mine, so I don't know a lot about all the different free ones that are out there. So I'm guessing that a lot of the people in the Facebook group on Zenler will actually be maybe using better software that they've found that does a better job for them. So I'm going to show you an example one, and you can ask the group if you want to find out if there's a better way of editing the SVG files. but the main thing is we've got the SVG files. So now we're going to look at an editor, free editor that you can get that works for Mac and for Windows and allows you to edit your SVG files. So here is a website here that gives me a list of lots of SVG editing software. So we've got one called Inkscape here, which is free, available for Windows and for Mac and Linux as well. So this is quite a good little site because it tells you lots of different SVG editors. We've got Sketchka, which is an SVG editor. Again, it's free. It's available for Windows, Mac. There's Boxy, which is, I think I've used this and I think it's quite good. That's $9.99. We've got Gravatar Designer, free and pro, $99. Windows, Mac, works with Chrome. So this is good. We've got Sketch, which is £99. Vector Easy Editor as a free web app. That looks like it's fairly easy to use. Yeah, simple to use. Vector, powerful enough for professionals to use. So you've got Method Draw Inkpad here, $6.99. So we got there's quite a few, and there's quite a few free ones. Now we've got Adobe Illustrator Draw, so that's in-app purchase for the cloud storage. So Affinity Designer, these are a little bit more. That's Coral Draw, which is $843, quite expensive. Vector. So here we go. So it's choosing the best one that's going to work for you. Okay guys, so I haven't decided to go with any of those editors I've shown you. I downloaded a few and played around, and I wasn't really happy with how they were working for beginners. So I found one online that's called boxy-svg.com, and this is really good because it's nice and simple. There are certain things you need to remember when you're changing or editing your SVG files. One important thing is there's a limited amount of fonts that you can use, so you need to be very careful. I generally don't change that. You can see under the description in your certificate area, that's here, where it gives you some some information here on what fonts they're using. Now you can see only 3 custom fonts are supported currently, so these are this, this and this. So I tend to leave it the same as what it is, and that way you're not going to go wrong with it. Now we've also got a max size for the widths and for the height of the certificate as well, as marked in here. Now if we're working from the SVG template we downloaded, then those sizes are going to be correct anyway. But if you are adding images to it, then you need to make sure that you're not going too big, because if you bring in an image, say you've taken on your digital camera and it's like maybe 14 megabytes, you have a limit on the size of the file, the certificate that you can upload, and it's about just over 1 meg in size, 1 megabyte in size. So you need to make sure that it's below that. So if you have any images, make sure that they are roughly that size, that you've resized them before you put them into the project. Yeah, you don't want images that are like 4,000 pixels, because even though you actually reduce them down inside of Boxy, they'll still retain a lot of that image size. So you need to be careful of that. They're the only 2 points really you've got to think about. So back in Boxy here, what you need to do is you need to register for an account, okay, and then you can, once you've registered, which is just your name, email and password, okay, you can then launch the app. So I'm launching the app now, and this is the app here. So I'm going to go straight away load up our sample SVG. So I'm going to go down a file, and then I'm just going to go open from disk, and I'm going to go and find my sample SVG, and I'm just going to open it. You notice it has opened it in a new tab, so I'm going to close the old tab up. So here is our certificate now in here. I'm not going to do anything too major. I will show you how to get an image in, but I will show you a little bit around the dashboard. Now I'm not entirely familiar with Boxy, but it's very easy to work with. So we've got files in here where you can import, export. We have the typical editor and the view. Definitely have a play around with all these. I haven't played around with them all. I notice on the right hand side we have some toolboxes for adding things like rectangles, and then over on the right hand side we have the modifications that we can do within Boxy itself. So for instance, if I've got this background here and I'm on this transform tool, you can see that whenever I click on an element, it goes in and out. You can see it's just clicking different elements, and we can go and change things like the fill by just pushing this one out and changing the color. So very quickly I can change these colors around. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click this, and I'm actually going to resize it. Now if you just click a component like this and then you click and drag, you'll be able to see that you can do it out of ratio. However, if you hold the control key whilst you're dragging, oh sorry, not the control key, if you hold the shift key, you can constrain it to the same proportion. So you can see how we're kind of moving things around already, and obviously I can go in and we can change the text on this as well. So we have the text tool on here, so we can put what we like in here, you know. So that's all good. Now remember, our tags are really important. These tags that has these brackets around are what is pulling in from your Zenler platform, so you don't want to actually change those. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to hold the shift key, and I'm going to click the other components, the other text components, and I'm going to make them all white by going to fill up the top here and across to white there. So I've just changed those colors. Now I'm also going to drop an image in the back, and I'm going to make this black. So I made that black now, so straight away we've got quite a striking difference to the templates. Now of course you can click on a component and you can hit the backspace to delete it if you want to as well. It's up to you, but I'm actually going to just load an image in now. Okay, so to load an image and to sort the order, which I'm going to show you in a sec, we can come into File and we can go Import from Disk, and we're going to go and find that. It's opened up a little open file on my other screen here. There you can see it, and this image size is 1500 by 1000 height. Okay, notice the size 900 KB, so I'm just going to click open, and now what you're going to see, if I press the control and the minus, oh not the control and minus, sorry, the minus key, just the minus key, we can zoom in and out, middle mouse button, you can drag this round, and what we've got here is actually over the top of the other piece. So I'm going to resize this down by holding shift, and I'm just going to put it into its relative position. I think I like it sort of inlaid a little bit here, so I'm holding that shift to just inlay it. So now I want to change the order of it, and that's where these things along here, we've got fill, we've got stroke, we've got compositing, you'll see that in a minute, we've got typography, don't really touch this too much, geometry, meta, shape, we can add shapes, in down here as well, and we've got what's called objects here. Now we've also got defs, I don't know what this is for. There's a library, this library is really cool. If you click this, it actually accesses Pixabay, which is very cool, so you can drag images straight in. So I'm going to go back to objects anyway, and what you're going to see is everything that's selected is going to just appear here. So when I select this, it's down here. Now this is the order, and actually top is at the bottom, funny enough, and the bottom is at the top, which kind of seems a bit weird. But if I get this and I click on it and I hold the left mouse button and drag, I can drag this under everything else. Wow, it's underneath the rectangle here. So I can also turn the eye off there just so I can see it. So what I want to do is I want to put tint on this black. So I'm going to go to what's called the compositing tool with the black selected, and I'm going to drop this opacity down. So there we go, straight away we've got this, and we've got this nice little bit around the edge. I might change the color of that quickly, so I'm going to go in here, change the color, maybe change it more to more of a blue, and I might actually take this and change the order of it as well to bring it up a little bit. So I'll take that that piece here, and I'm going to change, is that the right piece? I'm not sure it is. No, it's not. I want that polygon shape there, so I'm actually going to bring that above, and then I'm going to go to composite, and I'm going to drop that fill back like that. So I've got something like that. So completely unique now, changed really quickly. Now you can get really involved in this. I don't want it to be a massive tutorial on using Boxy. It's just to show you how to edit things and change things around. So I'm just going in here and just making some slight modifications to this. Okay. All right, good. So once you're happy with it, what you can do is to get this SVG out, this new file out, this new certificate, we're going to go to File and we're going to go Save to Disk. And I'm going to put it on my desktop. I'm going to call it Custom. Now what I'm going to do also is I'm going to create a variation of it, because what we can do using the plus, just to a middle mouse button, drag across. What we can do is I'm going to show you a way to quickly swap between the certificates so you can see which one's working for you. It's just a way to quickly generate stuff and be able to show it really quickly in the site. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm just coming here and making a variation of that same certificate with some different colors. I'll actually delete that out, and I might delete these out and grab these stars here and just make them bigger, and maybe have them instead of this. Put them there, yeah, something like that. Maybe make them more of a golden color. Yeah, you can really play around with this. Let's make this kind of golden color as well, so something like that. I'll move this down a bit, and I don't like that line. I think I'm going to get rid of that. Sometimes it's quite hard to see the lines, and I think that makes the student's name. I'm holding the shift key to constrain the proportion. So there we go, we got a completely different certificate now. I'll just come in here and I'll put this kind of here. All right, so let's save that one out. Let's go to save to disk, and we'll call this one custom 1. So there we go, generated 2 SVGs really quickly. Remember, if you close and exit out of Boxy and you want to carry on, you want to maybe edit this further. If I close that and leave, you're going to notice if I come into here and launch the app again, I can actually just load that SVG back up. So I can go open from disk, I can choose that SVG, and then I can go in and I can edit it further if I want to. All right, so play around with Boxy. There's lots to experiment with here, such as these kind of things as well. You can create circles, you can change the order of those as well, put them under things if you want to. Loads of things you can do with Boxy, but that's basically a really nice easy way to edit your SVG files, and you haven't even got to put any software onto your computer. You know, you can straight away get into it. So it's a very cool program. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how you can quickly view 2 certificates in a course. So we're going to basically create a mini course, and then you're going to go through it and just be able to look at that certificate. So we're going to do that in a second. Okay guys, so we created the 2 SVG files, so let's now just upload them. So you're going to go to courses, down to certificates, and we're going to go to add certificate. The first thing I'm going to do is give it a name, so I'm going to call it custom, and we're going to load the custom 1 file. So I'm going to go to choose, I'm going to go to custom, this one here, and we're just going to load this one up and click add. Now make sure that SVG is below 1024. If it's not, you're going to have a problem. Like this one is over, and that's because it's got an image in the background. So I'm going to have to edit that in Boxy. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to reduce this image down and reload it back up. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to delete it out, and I'm going to go, actually I'll save this without an image, just that'll just be quicker for me to just demonstrate this to you. I don't want to get into too much, just realize that sometimes things are too big and you need to maybe change them. Let me go into composite and make that black there, something like that. So let's just save that one out. Let's just save as, I'll just save it over the top of the other one like this, and then it will be fine. It will be below. Remember, you can right hand click your certificates on the document, go down to properties to see their size. So I'm going to open the other one up, and with this one I'm going to actually add an image, but I'm just going to resize it inside of Photoshop. So I'm going to open from disk, I'm going to click this one here, this one I'll open up in here, and I'm going to go and delete out my background. So I'm going to go straight into here, into this image, and delete it out. And then I'm going to open the image up in Photoshop and just resample it. Now this is not a Photoshop course, so I don't want to workshop. I don't want to go into how to resize images in Photoshop, because you'll be like, I haven't got Photoshop, and then it opens up a whole new can of worms. So I'll just do that now. Okay, so that's done. So I'm going to open that image up now. So I'm going to import from disk, and we're going to go and grab that image there, which I've taken the size right down on this now. So let's just open this up, and there he is. So I'm going to use that minus key to zoom out, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it at the bottom there where I had it before, and I'm going to hold the shift key, just going to bring it in, place it into position, something like that. By the way, you can go out of position, it's only going to grab what's in the document area, so I'll just place that in there. So there we're back. So now I'm going to save this back out over the top of custom 1. So I'm going to save to disk as, and I'm going to just copy it, save 1, and click yes. So if you do have that come up, it's usually because you put an image in there, it's oversized, so you probably need to add more compression if you're using JPEG. So let's go back in here now and add those certificates. So once again, I'm going to go to there, call it custom, we're going to call it customs SVG, going to click open, we're going to click add. And there it is there, so it's got the image in it. Beautiful. So we've added 2 custom certificates. Now we want to view them, we can view them there, but we want to see what the student's seeing. So what I do is I create a little course. So I'm coming into courses now, and I created a little test course. I basically cloned one of my other courses. Let's go in there, and I made it a test site. So I went into if you check the course curriculum, there's actually only surfing PDF for surf do. So there's 2 things. It's a really short lecture, it's just 1 section, and under the course details here I make this course private so you can't see it, and then I just enabled the certificate. So I can come in here and I can go and check that certificate by coming down and selecting one of the certificates and clicking update. So I've enabled it in here to be able to view it. Now to add myself as a student, I went to student here and I just added myself to this course. Yeah, I just went edit here and I went to courses and I just added myself to this test course. Okay, then I completed it. Okay, so then I logged in, so I'll show you my login, and I do this in incognito so it doesn't mess up my admin login. And now I've logged in as a user. I can go to my courses, I can go to the course that I've added myself in, which is test course, and you'll see I've already completed it. So when you complete it, you're going to get this download your certificate. So if I click this now, it's going to download here a PDF because it will convert your SVG to a PDF. So let's click this and have a look at it, and you can see this is what we have. So we have achievement, certificate, David, test. That's my David, and then my surname was Test in this. You can see the date. You can see this font has gone a bit funny here, so you might want to change that inside of Boxy. But let me show you quickly now how we can check the other one. So I'm going to close this down, I'm just minimizing it. Remember, this is an incognito window, and I'm going to add the new one to the course. So I'm going to go back into the course, go back into here, I'm going to go to the course details, I'm going to come down to here, and I'm going to select the new certificate, this one here, and I'm going to click update. Okay, now I'm going to jump back to my incognito window, and I'm going to refresh it by clicking the control and refresh here. And now when I click this, it's going to put the new PDF in. So if I click this, once it's downloaded, you can see that's the new one. So it's done something funny with the font, and I think this is because it wasn't changed in Boxy. So I might want to just go in there and change that in Boxy. So let's do that quickly. Let's go into here. I'm going to take this font here, and I'm going to come over to the font, and it's a Pacifico font, which I don't really recognize. I'm actually going to change this to something else. So I'm going to go and change it to a sans, or let's just change it to something straighter. It's not really going to change it, it should default it though. You sometimes have this. I'll put it into able. Okay, and that's the only thing that's wrong. Let me just check. I think the this is a bit, don't like this. I'll change this as well. I don't like it being italic, and I think I'll put it into something like that. It's not going to take on that font. And now I think I'll save this over the top of the other one. So I come in here, save to disk, I'm going to save it as that one there, click yes. I come back into my courses, and I'm going to upload. I'm going to go down to certificates. We're going to delete this one out. Okay, and I'm going to add this new one, which is custom one. We just overwrote. So a little bit, because I do this stuff all the time, and I'm making, I'm going through it quite quickly, but it's just basically just do it one at a time until you get the format right, and then just change all the background elements. So now I've updated that. We're going to see what happens when I swap it out. So I'm going to go back in the test. I'm going to just refresh this page, and we're going to drop that certificate back in. Then we're going to refresh and test. So I'm going to go back down to this one now. I'm going to click update, and I'm going to jump back to my incognito window, and which is there, and we're going to refresh this page, and I'm going to download and look at this, and hopefully that text will have changed. So that's just downloading. That's finished. I'm going to have a look at it now, and that's much better. So let's put it in upright. So you can change it. Notice though, it's not exactly the same text, because remember that it only has a few different text types that you can choose in here, or font types. Let me just flick this up. You can see these are the ones that it kind of defaults back to. So I think it's defaulting to Alex Brush. Okay, so if you can find those in Boxy, then it's best to actually put them into that. I'm not sure we've got an Alex Brush in here. There it is. Actually, we have Alex Brush there, so you could comfortably use that one. Pacifico and Blazium, I don't know those. Pacifico. Let's try Blazium, see if we've got that in there. No. Oh, Pacifico. What I don't like is there's no... Oh, I might better search here. Oh, there you go. There's Pacifico. So what about Blaze? No, we haven't got that. So it's actually that Blazium that's a straight up font. Alright guys, so kind of weird combination of fonts there, but we're probably going to add more fonts to there, so more of a font choice. But that's how you can edit your SVG file. So what I suggest is do it very slowly. Leave the text in there, change it if it's going really wildly out, but just change elements or add elements in there. Now you can also bring vectors in there, you can add shapes to it. Obviously I've shown you how to add images. Be careful with the images because they make the size of the file much bigger, and you've only got about 1 megabyte in size, so if you exceed that you won't be able to upload the certificate. But that's basically how to do it. And remember, if you create a little short course, you enroll yourself as a student by adding yourself in, then you can go through that course, and then you can keep going back to that course to check, load up different certificates in your course, refresh that page, download and have a look at it, so you can see it really quickly. So a little bit of a tip for you there. And also I suggest you sort of get familiar with Boxy, because it's actually quite easy to use, so that's why I've picked it for you guys to work with this. So again, produce lots of certificates, try them out. I suggest you do one at first to make sure the text is all correct, and then you do others afterwards, because then you know your text is going to be okay. All right guys, so hope you've enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll see you in the next lecture.